Well, hello again, YouTube. It's Petey, and today we're going to be ranking Harry Nilsson albums. Now, for one, I pronounce his name Nilsson, not Nielsen, because that's the way that it's spelled. For two, when I was a kid, my father was a Nilsson fan, and that's all the music that I ever heard when I was coming up was the music of Harry Nilsson. Now, my father passed away when I was just before my 16th birthday. I was 15, basically 16. My dad got sick, and we lost him. So Nilsson's music, I'll sum it up like this. I'm going to do my best not to become emotional and start crying because his music has that effect on me. His music makes me weep. So there was a long period of time when I was unable to listen to it at all. And I'm not going to apologize for that. Now, one of the things I would like to stress, this is you as a human being are free to make your own YouTube video. So if you disagree with my ranking of this is me, Petey Two Finger, this person, this selfish little baby. I'm a huge POS from what I've been told. I'm just a horrible human being. And so my list of a tier ranking of the Nilsson albums is not going to line up with yours. So rather than get upset and take shots at me in the comment section, I would encourage you to make your own Nilsson tier video or whatever. The more Nilsson videos we make on YouTube, the better it is, because Harry's music is one of those things that it has a timeless quality, and it's some of the best music that you'll find. Now, by definition, I feel Harry's music should be just that. It shouldn't be written by other artists. So you will notice if it's a covers album, it might not rank up there like we would see something that Harry himself wrote. Okay, so this is something to keep in mind. Number one, this is all subjective to what Petey thinks is good, and that's not going to line up with what you think is good, especially if you're a Nilsson fan. Number two, Petey feels that a list honoring a musician or a singer-songwriter's legacy should favor the pieces of music that he actually wrote. So it gets a little bit more bonus points if he wrote it, and minus a little if they're just covers. But it gets tricky when we get to one specific album. You probably know the one I'm talking about. So we do have a peanut gallery here. What's the first album we're going to do today?
Spotlight on Nilsson.
Spotlight on Nilsson. Okay. What year did this come out?
1966.
66. So this might be the first Nilsson album that's on RCA. And what's on it?
Okay, The Path That Leads to Trouble, Good Times, So You Think You've Got Troubles, I'm Gonna Lose My Mind, She's Yours, 16 Tons, Born in Granada, You Can't Take Your Love Away From Me.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you right here. This was Nilsson. It's covers. It's at the very beginning of his career. I'm not familiar with this album. I don't think anything is going to end up in the E-list, but we may be surprised. So what do we have next?
The next album is Pandemonium Shadow Show in 1967.
Okay, this is the one. I remember listening to this quite a bit. It's got a real 60s looking album cover. And some of these things that are here, like 10 Little Indians, 1941. Why don't you go ahead and what's on it?
Okay.
What year did it come out?
I already specified that. It came out in 1967.
Okay.
So yeah, 10 Little Indians, 1941, Cuddly Toy, She sang hymns out of tune. You Can't Do That. Sleep Late, My Lady Friend.
Beatles medley.
Yes, and then another Beatles song on the beginning of side 2, She's Leaving Home. There Will Never Be. Without Her. Freckles. It's Been So Long. And River Deep, Mountain High.
Okay, Nilsson at the beginning of his career. I'm giving it a C simply to make room for what's to come. Next.
Aerial Ballet in 1968.
All right. The band Aerosmith took their name from this album cover. Actually, it was a different version of this, which featured ground, sky, biplane, cloud, and then a pilot with his leather boots and his pantaloons, smoking a very large whatever it was. And Joey Kramer of Aerosmith claims that's where they got that's where they took the name, was from a Nilsson album cover, which is just crazy. So what year is it?
That was 1968.
And what's on it?
Daddy's Song, Good Old Desk, Don't Leave Me, Mr. Richland's Favorite Song, Little Cowboy, Together, Everybody's Talkin', I Said Goodbye to Me, Little Cowboy Reprise, Mr. Tinker, One, The Wailing of the Willow, and Bath. And then there are some bonus tracks. Sister Marie.
Yeah. See, this album, it's got One on it. But songs like Mr. Tinker, it just make me want to throw it down into the F. And all the Little Cowboy stuff, that Nilsson has a real lot of sentimental, sepia tone, melancholy stuff. What do we got next?
Harry, 1969.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So that's The Puppy Song, Nobody Cares About the Railroads Anymore, Open Your Window, Mother Nature's Son, Fairfax Rag.
Oh, I love that song. Fairfax Rag is a song about paranoia, marijuana-induced paranoia, feeling that you're about to get busted by an undercover cop because you're holding some weed in a diner. It's a really wacky, like ragtime song that I love.
So after that is City Life, Morning Glory Story.
Oh, what a great Nilsson song.
Maybe.
Yeah, great one.
Marching Down Broadway.
Great song.
I Guess the Lord Must Be in New York City.
Yep.
Rainmaker.
Oh,
Mr. Bojangles.
Oh man, it's like.
And then Simon Smith and the Amazing Dancing Bear.
Yeah, Harry is a really great album. If you're looking to get into Nilsson and you need something to cover the base of the earlier part of his career, just get Harry. Next, please.
1970, Nilsson sings Newman.
Ooh. So Harry Nilsson felt that Randy Newman was a superior songwriter. And he probably suspected that he may be the superior vocalist. Like Nilsson could sing better, but Newman wrote better songs. So they did a album where Nilsson sang Newman's songs. And this, I gotta tell you, this is what read the track listing.
Vine Street, Love Story, Yellow Man, Caroline, Cowboy, The Beehive State, I'll Be Home, Living Without You, Dayton, Ohio, 1903, and So Long, Dad.
We're gonna put Nilsson Sings Newman up in an A slot simply because it's a covers album. Otherwise, it might not just way up into God tier. Now, the production on this album, it really sounds good. This album, it's Nilsson can get a little like when he died. They did this for the love of Harry. Basically, Newman was going to repay him and do for this and do a new Randy Newman Sings Nilsson album, and Nilsson died. So it turned into this album called For the Love of Harry. Everyone sings Nilsson, and there's people on there like Marshall Crenshaw, who he better hope I never run into him, because of his quote was something like, "I had never heard of this guy, but the record company This is what he was when they interviewed him about it. He didn't know who Nilsson was, and they sent him some free records to listen to, and it sounded like this guy liked circus music a lot." But that is a fair. It's like, who is Marshall Crenshaw? Who
The only, I mean, do you want to really know? I mean, I only know like "Someday, Some Way" is a song.
I don't want to know. What's next?
Okay. Well, actually, The Point is listed here. It came out in 1970 as well.
Okay, The Point. This is one of the Nilsson albums, the only one that he mentioned in an interview that he was tripping on LSD when he came up with the concept for this. That automatically puts it in God tier. No, I'm kidding. It is the most unique and most excellent concept album next to Pink Floyd's The Wall. And I'll say that. Not next to, they're both on the same level of greatness. This is an S tier album. The Point shows Harry Nilsson at his finest. He wrote it. It's a really neat story. It's for each song he also speaks and tells the story, and it's a story for the ages. It's not necessarily for kids, although that's kind of what it's billed as. But Harry's brilliant narration is what really speaks to me on this. They had a bunch of other people filling in for Harry doing it when they did the animated cartoon. Dustin Hoffman was paid a healthy sum, and he signed some contract. He got his $200,000 to read it and swear they would never play his audio of the narration again. So then Ringo did it, and the kid Mike Lookinland from the Brady Bunch did it. And like Alan Thicke did it, some Quackenbush guy with a weird last name did it. And the funny thing is, Harry is the best narrator out of anybody who ever read it by so far. So far. And I love the music on The Point. I love the story. I love everything about it. It's a God tier Harry Nilsson album. And that should be the first one that you get.
Okay, do you want the song listings or no on that one?
No.
Okay. Nilsson Schmilsson is next, and that came out in 1971.
Okay. Nilsson Schmilsson was Harry's most successful commercial album.
Gotta Get Up, Driving Along, Early in the Morning, the Moonbeam Song.
Oh, Moonbeam Song. Ho, 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 ho.
Okay, and then Down. And then on side 2, we had Without You, Coconut, Let the Good Times Roll.
That's Lime in the Coconut for you non-believers.
Jump Into the Fire, and I'll Never Leave You.
This was really popular. I gotta be this. I gotta put it in B. I gotta save room in A for what really. Well, there's some great songs on here, and it was his most commercially successful album. And I do really love some of the music on here. It's just that some of it I don't care for as much as a complete album, but it's all Harry. We're gonna go ahead and honor it for what it is and give it an A tier. What do we got next?
Son of Schmilsson, 1972.
Son of Nilsson. This was the one that I think a lot of cocaine and alcohol. He was in this drinking club, Hollywood Vampires. Has nothing to do with Alice Cooper or that other PDF file guy who dresses up in that band. Son of Schmilson is a God tier album. It's got a song on there called The Most Beautiful World in the World. Take 54, Spaceman, the Lottery song, Ambush, Joy. It's a perfect album. It's my favorite Harry Nilsson album, next to The Point. Although everyone talks about this one, they don't talk about this, this was just a little bit more bizarre. It was a little bit more out there. I feel it's a much stronger album as like a concept album, as a diverse, like all the songs are really different. Okay, that's what makes this really stand out. Yeah, there's some goof songs, there's some joke songs on there, but they're great. They're absolute dynamite. What do we got next?
1973, A Little Touch of Schmilson in the Night.
Okay, here we go. This is Harry announced he was going to do standards. So he got an orchestra together. They got some really good recording equipment and producers and all that. And he did songs like Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Making Whoopee, I Wonder Who's Kissing Her Now. What else is on here?
Lazy Moon, For Me and My Gal, It Had to Be You, Always, You Made Me Love You, Lullaby and Ragtime, What I'll Do, Nevertheless, I'm in Love with You.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. This is the best Nilsson album for people who aren't Nilsson fans. That's what this is for. This is if you meet a girl and she's never heard Nilsson and you want to procreate with her, you play her this song in the car when you're trying to pick her locks. That's what this album is about. It's not Harry Nilsson music. It's a great album. It features some of his finest vocal performances, okay? But it's not Harry Nilsson music. It's covers. Next.
1974, Pussycats.
Okay, this is the album that he ruined his voice. He did this album with John Lennon. It's towards the end of his career during the Lost Weekend shenanigans. And the production on it is weird. It's kind of lo-fi. I gotta put this in read the track listing.
Many Rivers to Cross.
Oh my goodness. It's like right there. Next.
Subterranean Homesick Blues. Don't Forget Me. All My Life. Old Forgotten Soldier.
Oh my goodness.
Save the Last Dance for Me.
Oh my goodness.
Mucho Mango. Mount Elba.
Oh. This one. Rock Around the Clock.
Loop De Loop, Black Sails, Rock Around the Clock.
Yeah.
And then they have some bonus tracks, Down by the Sea, the Flying Saucer Song, Turn Out the Light, and an alternate version of Save the Last Dance for Me.
Yeah, this is, out of everything, see, man, it's like I want to put all three of these up in the S tier and be done with it. What do we got next?
Next is Do It on Monday, 1975. The track listing on this is Jesus Christ, You're Tall. It's a Jungle Out There.
Okay, this Van Dyke Parks plays synthesizer and helped out on this. This is Harry at the end of his life. He did a lot of tropical sounding music, and people love this album. There's people out there that got this and love this album. I am not so much a fan of this. I haven't listened to it enough for these songs to kick in with me. It's after he harmed his vocal cords, because see, when he was working with John Lennon on this, he ruptured a vocal cord and didn't have it repaired. And Harry was a self-centered prick. He had a family, and all he did was drink himself to death and do blow. And he destroyed this amazing gift that God had given to him, which was his voice. I'm gonna put this down here. We're gonna start the D category with this, because putting it in the same category as this is just wrong. What do we got next?
1976, Sandman.
Sandman. Well, read the track listing for me, please.
I'll Take a Tango, Something True, Pretty Soon There'll Be Nothing Left for Everybody, The Ivy-Covered Walls, Here's Why I Did Not Go to Work Today, The Flying Saucer Song, How to Write a Song, Jesus Christ You're Tall, Will She Miss Me?
Yeah, this is everything after Pussycats. I'm just not into it. He does this it's this tropical thing where he's using that style of instrumentation, where he's drinking tropical drinks, and he sounds like he's kind of drunk on most of it, and he's changed his style. And it's still Nilsson, but this is music I've yet to discover. Maybe in a few years, if I go back and revisit this stuff and listen to it enough, these albums would get bumped up a little bit in here, into here, I would say. But for now, that they're in D category because they deserve it. They're just not. They don't live up to the quality.
Okay, next is 1976, That's the Way It Is.
Okay, this is a covers album, and I was unaware of this. There's some George Harrison songs on here. I listened to it today. It wasn't a wide release in the United States as far as I know. We're going to e-ticket this, even though people have claimed that it's great. It's got this oversaturated reverb on the vocals, and it's got the tropical production, and like too much strings, like disco strings. I mean, it was the 70s. What do we got next?
1977, Nilsson.
Okay, this, we're going to go ahead and read me the...
All I Think About Is You. I Never Thought I'd Get This Lonely. Who Done It? Lean on Me.
Yeah, that's good. Nilsson, I know it to be a better piece of work. I know it's more focused. I know he was really pissed because Elvis passed away, and RCA didn't promote this album. It's just like the story about this Randy Newman album. Nilsson sings Newman. Randy went into the record store in Los Angeles, and the clerk didn't recognize him. And he said, "Hey, do you have any Nilsson? Harry Nilsson?" The clerk said, "Sure, let me go through these albums and tell you what I think, how popular they were, and if I recommended them or not." And he got to this one. He said, "Yeah, this is the album that did him in commercially." What's next, baby?
Okay, next is Flash Harry, 1980.
Flash Harry is a 1980 album. It's pretty much more of the same. It does have better production on it. Give me the song listing on Flash Harry.
Harry, Eric Idle it says. Cheek to Cheek, Best Move, Old Dirt Road, I Don't Need You, Rain, I've Got It, It's So Easy, How Long Can Disco On, Bright Side of Life.
Well, it looks like we're just about wrapping this up. As far as, I mean, there's like, we've got like Skidoo, which I was really excited to hear about that when it came out. And we're going to skidoo that into the into the F category. Let me see if there's anything else.
The Popeye.
I don't have Popeye soundtrack loaded here. This is music from this movie they made, which is terrible. It's terrible, but the music on here, it's music that's from Son of Schmilsson. But because this is kind of derivative of Son of Schmilsson, that's only for serious collectors. So it's going to go into. So really, I mean, if you want to get into Harry Nilsson, I guess I shouldn't start moving stuff around. If you wanted to get into Nilsson, I would start here. Start at the C list. So these are the Nilsson albums that I recommend: Pandemonium, Shadow Show, Little Touch in the Night, Aerial Ballet, Pussycats, Schmilsson, Nilsson Sings Newman, Harry, followed by the God tier level of You Simply Could Not Make a Better Album, being The Point. The Point is a timeless work of perfection you could play for your grandmother or your 3-year-old child. Son of Schmilsson represents everything that I love about Harry in one neat and tidy package. It's the most diverse of all these other albums in here. It's very musical. All of the people that play on it are mother effer grade musicians. And that's why I rate this a better album than all the rest of this stuff. Like I said, I can't put this in the S or the A tier simply because these are songs that Louis Armstrong wrote. These are old standards. Yes, it has incredible production by the BBC orchestra or wherever they did it. Yes, it sounds phenomenal. Yes, it has Harry's finest vocal performances. But I'm not a Nilsson fan simply on the fact of his 3-octave range and his vibrato control. I'm a Nilsson fan for the entire package, which means Harry, his soul, his humanity, the way that he was able to bring beauty out of melancholy, his romanticism, that way of looking at the past, and also that sense of eternal yearning that we know of human beings that cannot really be described, but he encapsulates that very well in his music. So there is a endless pit of despair and darkness in this music that is something that it's not for everyone. You know, Pink Floyd fans, you might know what I mean. There's certain music, like, you know, if you're listening to KC and the Sunshine Band, and that's about as far as you can take it. Something like Nilsson is a completely different experience. It's sad music. It's really, really fucking sad music. And that's the issue that I have with it. I'm unable to listen to it without bursting into tears. Right, Yanti?
That's right.
And have you ever known me to be able to listen to Nilsson and not cry?
No.
Maybe only if it's somebody covering it. And
Well,
even
gosh.
then,
Yeah, I
if
mean,
I get enough beers in me back then.
if they're doing a good job, yeah.
Right. Not that Marshall fucking Crenshaw. Fuck that motherfucker. What's his song?
I think it's called Someday, Some Way.
Someday, some way, maybe you would have enough talent in your fingernail. Right.
Someday, Some Way, 1982.
All right, you guys. Thank you for joining me on this one. If you're not familiar with the stuff, I don't know what the heck you're doing here at the end of this incredibly long video. So obviously you are a Nilsson fan, and please go easy on me. You know, if if you hate Son of Schmilson and you hate the point, here, there you go.
Or me and my
Here's your
arrow.
Nilsson
People
list.
might recognize me and my arrow and not even know what it is. That it's him.
Here's your tier. There. You feel better now? I hope you do. All right, you guys. Thank you for joining me on this one. It's a long overdue subject. It's just something really personal. I don't really like talking about it because it's private. So consider that before I'm already well aware of the fact of how massive a piece of shit that I am and that I deserve to die. So consider that before you go off on me or leave a comment that could be considered negative, because I'll delete it. That's what I do here. Sorry. Anyway, the most important thing is that you hug your pets. That's important. So remember to do that for me if you can. Hug your pets. And peace.